good-looking man walks into a singles bar, gets a drink and takes a seat. During the course of the evening, he tries to chat with every single woman who walks into the bar. With no luck. Suddenly, a really ugly man, and I mean really ugly man, walks into the bar. He sits at the bar and within seconds, he's surrounded by women. Very soon, he walks out of the bar with two of the most beautiful women you have ever seen. Disheartened by all of this, the good-looking man asks the barman, "Excuse me, but that really ugly man just came in here and left with those two stunning women. What's his secret? He's as ugly as sin, and I'm everything a girl could want, but I've not been able to all night. What's going on?" "Well," says the barman, "I don't know how he does it, but he does the same thing every night. He walks in, orders a drink, and just sits there licking his eyebrows." Man was sitting at a bar enjoying an after-work cocktail when an exceptionally gorgeous and young woman entered. She was so striking that the man could not take his eyes away from her. The young woman noticed his overly attentive stare and walked directly towards him. Before he could offer his apologies for being so rude, the young woman said to him, "I'll do anything, absolutely anything that you want me to do, no matter how keen. For $100. One condition only." Flabbergasted, the man asked what the condition was. The young woman replied, "You have to tell me what you want me to do in just 3 words. The man considered her proposition for a moment, withdrew his wallet from his pocket and slowly counted out 5 $20 bills, which she pressed into the young woman's hand. He looked into her eyes and slowly, meaningfully said, "Paint my house." It was arranged for an old-fashioned visitor from America with a lively Irish girl. They strolled in the park under the moonlight until they came to a secluded spot where he kissed her several times lightly on the cheek. "That, my dear," he said, "is called spooning." "Spooning may be all right for you," she replied, "but I would rather shovel." Woman went to see her psychiatrist. "I'm really concerned," she said. "The other day I found my daughter and the little boy next door together naked and examining each other's bodies and giggling." The psychiatrist smiled. "That's nothing to worry about. It's pretty normal." "Well, I don't know," said the woman. "It worries me. It worries my daughter's husband too." Woman walked into a very busy butcher's shop. Looking at the meats and poultry on display, she suddenly grabbed hold of the dressed chicken. She picked up one wing, sniffed it, picked up the other wing and sniffed it, picked up one leg, sniffed it, picked up the other leg, sniffed it. Just as she finished sniffing the second leg, the butcher walked up to her and said, "Madam, could you pass such a test?" Man and woman were dating and he asked her to marry him. She told him that to prove his love to her, she wanted him to get her name Wendy tattooed on his penis. When it was erect, it said Wendy, and when it was limp, it said WY. They got married and went to Jamaica to a beach for their honeymoon. Wendy asked her husband to get them a drink. So he went to a stand on the beach and noticed the man who was waiting on him also had a WY on his penis. He said, "Oh, you must have a wife named Wendy too." And the waiter said, "No, my tattoo says welcome to Jamaica, man. Have a nice day." Guy has been asking the prettiest girl in town for a date and finally she agrees to go out with him. He takes her to a nice restaurant and buys her the gourmet dinner with expensive wine. On the way home, he pulls over to the side of the road in a secluded spot. They start talking and he's getting pretty excited. He starts to reach under her skirt and she stops him, saying she's a virgin and wants to stay that way. "Well, okay," he says. "How about a Yuck!" She screams. "I'm not putting that thing in my mouth. He says, well then how about a hand? I've never done that, she says. What do I have to do? Well, he answers, remember when you were a kid and you used to shake up a Coke bottle and spray your brother with it? She nods. Well, it's just like that. So he pulls it out and she grabs hold of it and starts shaking it. A few seconds later, his head flops back on the hardest. His eyes close. Snot starts to run out of his nose. Wax blows out of his ear and he screams out in pain. What's wrong? She cries out. Take your thumb off the end. Husband and wife want to take golf lessons from a pro at a local country club. The man and woman meet the pro and head on to the driving range. The man goes up to it first. He swings and hits the ball 100 yards. The golf pro says, not bad. Now hold the club as firm as you hold your wife's breath. The man follows instructions and hits the ball 300 yards. The golf pro says, excellent. Now the woman takes her turn. Her ball goes 30 yards. The golf pro says, not bad, but try holding the club like you hold your husband's. She swings and the ball goes 10 yards. Not bad, but now try taking the club out of your mouth to hit the ball. Tiny village lived an old maid. In spite of her old age, she was still a virgin. She was very proud of it. She knew her last days were getting closer, so she told the local undertaker that she wanted the following inscription on her tombstone. Born as a virgin, lived as a virgin, died as a virgin. Not long after, the old maid died peacefully and the undertaker told his men what the lady had said. The men went to carve it in, but as the lazy no-goods they were, they thought the inscription to be unnecessarily long. They simply wrote, returned unopened. Two women friends had gone out for a girls' night out and had been decidedly over-enthusiastic on cocktails. Incredibly drunk and walking home, they suddenly realized they both needed to pee. They were very near a graveyard and one of them suggested they do their business behind a headstone or something. The first woman had nothing to wipe with, so she took off her panties, used them and threw them away. Her friend, however, was wearing an expensive underwear set and didn't want to ruin hers, but was lucky enough to salvage a large ribbon from a wreath that was on a grave and proceeded to wipe herself with it. After finishing, they made their way home. The next day, the first woman's husband called the other husband and said, "These damn girls' night outs have got to stop. My wife came home last night without her panties." "That's nothing," said the other. Mine came back with a sympathy card stuck between the cheeks of her butt that said, "From all of us at the fire station, we will never forget you." As an ultimate test of his willpower, a man decided to give up for Lent. Although not thrilled with the idea, his wife agreed to support him in this effort. The first few weeks weren't too difficult. Things got tougher during the next couple of weeks. So the wife wore her dowdiest night clothes and chewed on garlic before going to bed. The last couple of weeks were extremely tough on the husband. So the wife took to locking the bedroom door and forcing the husband to sleep on the couch. Easter morning finally came. A knock came on the wife's bedroom door. Knock, knock, knock. The husband says, "Guess who?" The wife answers, "I know who it is." The husband says again, "Guess what I want?" The wife says, "I know what you want." The husband answers, "Guess what I'm knocking with?" Woman takes her 19-year-old daughter to doctor. The doctor says, "Okay, Mrs. Jones, what's the problem?" The mother says, "It's my daughter, Darla. She keeps getting these cravings. She's putting on weight and she's sick most mornings. The doctor gives Darla a good examination, then turns to the mother and says, "Well, I don't know how to tell you this, but your Darla is about 4 months pregnant." The mother says, "Pregnant? She can't be. She has never ever been left alone with a man. Have you, Darla?" Darla says, "No, mother. I've never even kissed a man." The doctor walked over to the window and just stares out of it. About 5 minutes passes and finally the mother says, "Is there something wrong out there, doctor?" The doctor replies, "No, not really. It's just that the last time anything like this happened, a star appeared in the east and 3 wise men came over the hill. I'll be damned if I'm going to miss it this time."